Welcome to my YouTube channel, and we are going to learn how to simplify SURDS. For example, when given 2 over root 3, this is a simple SURD, and therefore we want to see how we can simplify this particular SURD. Now, the first thing that we need to do so that we can be able to simplify this SURD is to look at the denominator and check whether it is actually an irrational number. And when you look at the denominator, which is root 3, therefore, we need to remove that root 3 by rationalizing it. How do we rationalize this root 3? We rationalize this root 3 by multiplying it with a root 3 as follows. 2 over root 3, we multiply this by root 3, and once we multiply the denominator by root 3, we must also multiply the numerator by root 3 as follows. So that now we can have 2 multiplied by root 3, which gives us 2 root 3. Then we divide this by root 3 times root 3, which gives us the root of 3 times 3, which is 9. Therefore, we can simplify this root 9 further because we know that the root of 9 is actually 3. Now, what you have been able to do is actually to simplify the SURD 2 over root 3. Now, we can also take another example. Let's say 2 root 3 plus 5 root 3 plus 3 root 7 plus 8 root 7, and we want to see how best we can simplify this particular SURDs. Now, you realize we have 2 SURDs that are similar, and these 2 SURDs that are similar, they can be added. For example, this is root 3, and there are 2 of them. And this is root 3, but there are 5. So therefore, we can consider the 2 and 5 of root 3 and say 2 root 3 plus 5 root 3 is actually 2 plus 5 root of 3. And therefore, we are going to have 2 plus 5 of root 3. Plus, this is root 7, and there are 3 of them. This is also root 7, and there are 8 of them. So we have 3 root 7 and 8 root 7. Therefore, in total, we have 3 plus 8 root 7. That is 3 plus 8 root 7. And therefore, we can easily add 2 plus 5 to get 7 root 3 plus 3 plus 8 gives us 11 root 7. Now, this is a simplified form of that particular SURD. Now, we can go further and say we have 5 over root 3 plus root 2. We want to simplify this particular SURD. Now, when you look at the denominator, is actually made up of roots. We need to do away with that SURD at that particular point. We remove the roots of 2 and 3. And the only way we can do this is by multiplying it with a conjugate. Now, a conjugate is actually the same SURD, but the signs now is the reverse of it. For example, when you have a positive sign between the 2 SURDs, then the conjugate will be root 3 and root 2, but the sign here will use a negative, so that the conjugate of this is actually root 3 minus root 2. So this is the conjugate that we are going to use so that we are able to remove the root 3 and root effectively, our SAT becomes 5 over root 3 plus root 2, and now we multiply this denominator by the conjugate, which we have found to be root 3 minus root 2, and once we multiply the denominator with the conjugate, we must also do the same with the numerator, and we are going to multiply the numerator by root 3 minus root 2. And we now try to open those brackets and we see what we are going to have. So at the numerator, we are going to have 5 times root 3, which is actually 5 root 3 minus 5 times root 2 is actually 5 root 2. At the denominator, we are going to do as follows. We are going to take root 3, we multiply by this particular bracket here, so that we have root 3 into the second bracket, which is root 3 minus root 2. And then we add root 2 multiplied by the second bracket, which is root 3 minus the root of 2. And then we try to open these particular brackets and we see what we are going to get. So our numerator is, we still have 5 root 3 minus 5 root 2. Our denominator becomes, this is the root of 3, the root of 3, you get the root of 9 minus root 3 times root 2 gives us the root of 3 times 2, which is the root of 6, plus root 2 times root 3 is the root of 2 times 3, which gives us 6. And finally, we have negative root 2 times root 2, which gives us the root of 2 times 2, which is 4. So we can simplify the denominator as follows. Now, when you look keenly at this particular point, you realize you have negative root 6 plus positive root 6. This part gives us a 0, and therefore we can disregard that particular part and focus on the root of 9 and the root of 4. Now, we have 5 root 3 minus 5 root 2. Divide this by the root of 9, which is actually 3. The square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of 4 is actually 2. So what we are having now is actually 5 root 3 minus 5 root 2. Now, root 3 and root 2 cannot be added or subtracted because basically they are different roots. So what we are going to have as numerator, we are going to remain with our 5 root 3 minus 5 root 2. But the denominator, we are able to simplify it further and say 3 minus 2, which gives us 1. And therefore, we can say that this is 5 root 3 minus 5 root 2, which is a simplified SURD of this nature, 5 over root 3 plus root 2. Now, that's how we can be able to simplify SURDs, especially the simple SURDs. And for this and more tutorials, kindly go to my YouTube channel at EDUCATOR KIM and subscribe.